Hello, everyone! Welcome back to our series where we discuss the last 100 years of Kentucky Derby winners and how thoroughbred breeding programs have changed.
As always, I'm Grayson,
And I'm Abigail.
and today we're going to be discussing the 1923 Kentucky Derby.
The 1923 Derby was the 49th running held at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky on Saturday, May 5th.
There were over 20 competitors in this race, with the top three places going to Zev, Martingale, and Vigil.
Let's get right into it. Zev was a 3-year-old thoroughbred when he won the Derby with trainers Sam Hildreth and James Leary. However, he had a phenomenal racing career starting as a 2-year-old.
That's right, when he was 2 years old, he won 5 out of the 12 races he started and was the champion colt of 1922.
Amazing! And in his 3-year-old season he was the recipient of the American Horse of the Year award, along with winning the Kentucky Derby. Additionally, he went on to perform an amazing 4th-year season and was inducted into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame, after which he was retired as a stud horse. Unfortunately, he only produced 2 minor stake winners, Zevson and Zeta.
Zev's winnings over his 3 years of racing totaled to about $314,000, which is about $5,730,400 today, of which I believe his Kentucky Derby winnings accounted for a large portion.
Yes, the winner of the 1923 Derby brought home a little over $53,500 with a 5,000 Gold Cup prize. In total, Zev's winnings would roughly amount to $1,069,422 today, a number brought to you by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics inflation calculator.
That's a lot of money. Because of his impeccable racing career, Zev holds the record for the most money earned during a horse's racing career, title previously held by the horse Man of War, who never raced in the Kentucky Derby, but arguably has one of the best racing careers in the 1900s, winning 20 of his 21 races. His total winnings amounted to $249,465, roughly $4.5 million today.
That is a lot of money.
Unfortunately, the second and third place winners did not receive a big payout. Second place received $6,000 and third place received only $3,000.
We could not find very much information about the second and third place horses, Martingale and Vigil.
Yes, unfortunately only the winning horse seems to be heavily recorded in history. We do know that Vigil, the third place horse, was best known for winning the 1923 Preakness Stakes, while also having wins in 1922 at Debut Purse, Terminal Purse, and Baldwin Purse.
Examining Zev's pedigree shown on the screen, we see a thoroughbred stallion bred in 3 different generational lines.
This stallion is the notable Saint Simon.
Sounds fancy. Who is Saint Simon?
He was a British racehorse foaled in 1881 and bred by Prince Gustavus Batthyány of Hungary. His most notable wins were in 1884, his 3-year-old season, when he won the Ascot Gold Cup, the Goodwood Cup, and the Epsom Gold Cup.
He was named the leading sire in Britain and Ireland from 1890 to 1896, and from 1900 to 1901, as well as the leading broodmare sire in Britain and Ireland from 1903 to 1907 and in 1916.
He was retired to stud in 1886 when he was 5 years old. From here, he sired 423 foals, who won 571 races between them.
That is very impressive. Most likely because of this outstanding lineage, we see Saint Simon as Zev's great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather, and great-great-great-grandfather. Additionally, Saint Simon's lineage is seen in Northern Dancer. Do you know who Northern Dancer is?
I do. Northern Dancer won the 1964 Kentucky Derby, and St. Simon is actually crossed about 15 times in the first 8 generations of Northern Dancer's pedigree.
Let's take a minute to talk about Northern Dancer. Around 97% of thoroughbreds can trace their lineage back to Northern Dancer, and by default, Saint Simon. Some of the best sires in the world are sons of Northern Dancer. His son Danzig sired Danehill, who sired Fastnet Rock, Exceed, Excel, Schnitzel, Not a Single Doubt, and Flying Spur, none of which won the Kentucky Derby, but were prominent racers.
This is where we really start to see the policy breed the best to the best come into play. In mass thoroughbred breeding programs, horse breeders take really good notes on performance and lineage before choosing a sire and a broodmare.
That is very true. Breeders will examine the lineage of both sides for any sign of prominent racers, as well as carefully reviewing the horses' racing careers before making any major decisions.
After a while, breeders discovered that a good racing sire bred to a good or even an okay racing mare produces good racing foals.
Along with that theory, artificial insemination, or AI, was just starting to become a thing, so breeders could get quality sperm without actually having the stallion on site. AI was not widely used, and we have not found any record of these horses being involved with AI, but it is a big advancement for the industry.
Scientists have been studying reproduction and insemination since before the 17th century AD, but AI, as we know it, started in 1897 when a Cambridge student was experimenting with artificially inseminating dogs, rabbits, and horses.
More modern AI was developed in 1922 by Russian scientist Ilya Ivanov, who pioneered the use of super stallion sperm artificial insemination in increasing progeny numbers.
Further supporting the use of AI was the invention of refrigeration in 1834. In 1913, the first home refrigerators were on the market, and by 1923, the company Frigidaire was introducing themselves. Refrigeration is really relevant to artificial insemination through refrigerated train cars, invented in the 1830s, but really taking off in the 1890s which were able to transport perishable items quicker.
Sperm cannot live outside of the horse's body for very long. In order for sperm to be preserved for a long time, it is frozen, and it will keep for years. There are many horses long deceased whose sperm is still on the market. Some companies even claim to have some of St. Simon's sperm frozen in their stores.
This is most likely untrue given that these practices were fairly new during St. Simon's lifespan, and people would have been skeptical. However, the oldest sample of equine sperm that I could find currently on the market is from a thoroughbred named Galileo.
Yes, Galileo lived from 1998 until 2021, but horses are the most fertile in their early years of life, so the samples are most likely from the early 2000s.
Galileo was an extremely good racehorse and is said to be the most expensive horse in the world by Canada's Standard Bred Association, valuing his sperm at $49,000.
Interesting little tidbit is that Galileo is the grandson of Northern Dancer.
Alright, that was a lot of information, so I think it's time for our horse fun fact.
Agreed. Today's horse fun fact is from thefactsite.com, and it is that horses have a fewer number of bones than humans.
Really?
Yes, horses only have 205 bones, while humans have 206.
Fascinating. Well, that is all we have for this video.
We hope to see you next time when we talk about the 1933 Kentucky Derby.
This slide contains all the sources we used to create this video.
Thanks for watching!